Hello there. We have Ethan Gohari, who is, in my opinion, the most shredded person I've ever seen in my entire life.
Oh,
And that
really?
the conditioning at the Detroit Pro was fucking phenomenal. And that in your introduction, I wanted to explain one thing, that you have had a crazy 2 years, from massive injury to winning a pro show, and now you're Olympia bound. But you didn't stop there. You still just went on a streak. Got won 2 pro shows, got 6 at the Arnold Classic, and then second to Wesley at the Detroit Pro. And I believe you just started your prep like this week. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I am about actually, I think 12 days into my deficit for
Mm-hmm.
Olympia. Obviously, with my off season and growth phase, I try to keep things tight. So my preps are shorter and I'm not losing muscles when I'm prepping, and I can keep food a little bit higher.
Mm-hmm.
Training performance is good. And the past like 2, 3 years, that's literally what I've been doing. And I've made the most amount of progress in terms of just muscularity, and training and everything.
Yeah, I absolutely love your training. I mean, I want to talk to you about everything. So let's
Yeah.
go over your history a little bit. That you turned pro and then competed in 3 different shows within 14 days on 2 different continents. How did you manage that?
But I turned pro.
Yeah, in 2022, when you did like Vancouver, you
Oh,
did Big Man,
yeah.
and you did another show in your the Asia continent. Like, how did you get from one side of the planet to the other and hit 3 shows in 14 days?
It wasn't easy for sure. Just going from here to Spain, it was about
Mhm.
24, over 24 hours of traveling, you know. It wasn't easy. I had to kind of freeze my food and take it on the plane, and obviously they always question you about your food, why you're doing this and stuff like that. It's not easy. It's never easy. But if you are organized, if you have a plan, you can get it done. So I went to Spain. I remember that was a while ago. That was 4 years ago. you know, I went to Spain. I did my first pro show in Alicante. I placed, I think, I was in the second call out. Yeah, I didn't place. I was in the second call out. And then the following week went to Portugal, did Mesa Big Evolution, which was my second pro show. It was the same lineup, but with like a few other people. So it was a more competitive lineup. And we did improve for that show. We came in a little bit fuller and harder, and I made it to top 5, which I was really happy with, considering like seeing the other guys, they were all like huge, massive. I was 4 kilos under my cap back then. And then went to Vancouver, and I don't know, 24 hours of traveling. Did that show. It wasn't easy for sure. It's not easy when you are traveling and you see all these food that you've never really tried, especially if you go to Europe and you really want to try them, but you can't because you have another show to follow with.
I would have the exact same problem. It's like
Yeah.
I wanted to go to Japan, but I think I'm going to go as a vacation because I mean Japan's a bad example because you can eat sushi on prep, but like going to Italy on prep would just be a waste.
Yeah. Yeah. I did a show in Italy as well the following year. I think. It wasn't easy.
Dude, it is crazy. When did you bring on your new coach? Was it after the hip injury or what from the leg press, or was it after Dubai?
I've been with him my whole pro career
Oh,
since
really? The whole thing?
2021.
Oh, okay, cool. Cool,
So
cool.
we've been together for 5 years now. And it's important to, if you know your coach is good, obviously, it's important to stay with him and do a few shows so he learns your body. I feel like we have just nailed it. Now we know exactly what to do.
It
It
was
took a few shows, but
great.
yeah.
Your conditioning was fucking incredible. I was so blown away. Your posing was that good. You're symmetrical. Like you got it all. You're fucking awesome. So I
Thanks,
can't
man.
wait to see your Olympia debut this year. It's gonna be fantastic.
Yeah, yeah. We have definitely made some improvements for Olympia. The feedback was bring your back, like lats up a little bit, which we have done it, and arms.
Right. We
Yeah.
talked about that, I think, at the Detroit Pro. You and me have the same
Yeah.
things to bring in. And I'm watching your routine. You're doing 2 lats exercises, I think, or 2 sets of lats every upper day. You go upper, lower, upper limbs off, upper limbs off, right? Is that kind of what you do?
That's what I did for the final 7, 8 weeks of my growth phase. And
Okay.
now as we started prep, so I did have a 4-day rotation, which was upper, lower, basically upper, lower, rest, upper, lower. But then when you move into prep, it's a little bit too much if you do that and your training intensity is high, just training that muscle every third day. And it's like a full upper session, even though like I was doing 4 sets of chest, but 4 hard sets of chest is still a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So what we did instead of, I'm doing the same like sort of exercises, but I'm spreading it over 5 days. Now I have a pull day, a push day, a leg day, rest, and then I have an upper day, and then arms and hamstrings. Then
Okay,
rest.
gotcha. So you're doing what I'm doing is I'm hitting quads once every 7 days. Everything else is getting hit twice. Yeah.
Pretty much, yes. Everything else is getting it twice. Yeah. You got the same split. Maybe that's why you wanted me to be.
Well, I've been watching your stuff, and it's like on top of being the most symmetrical and being a phenomenal poser, you train kind of middle in the road between Janecki and J3U style. It's like you go slower than we have to go, but you do it for a reason. And then you also have really creative applications of cable usage. Like you do the exact same type of rear delt thing I do, but you've solved the problem of the tricep extension by laying it on the bench. And then you can use the same bench to work the middle delt. And then you can use the same bench to work the bicep.
Yeah.
So wheeling the bench over isn't such a pain in the ass if you're going to work 3 fucking body parts with it.
Yeah.
Now it's rational. Yeah.
Yeah. And you know, with my training and stuff, obviously I have been training since when I was 14.
Okay.
I'm 32 now. I just turned 32 2 days ago. So
18
years of training. And obviously when I first started training, it was more of like the bro split, you know. What I was doing, I was literally just watching Jay Cutler on YouTube, and I was copying the training program, which was the bro split. You know, I did the bro split for years, you know, and then I started doing pull, push, and legs. Did that for a few years, and then I'm like, okay, you know, I have these lagging parts. I think we need to prioritize these more. It makes no sense if I'm doing bro splits, hitting everything once a week, you know, when this body part needs more work. So it's been years and years and years of like trial and error. And obviously now I think I found out what works the best for me. And it does make sense on paper as well, you know, hitting muscle that needs more work twice a week instead of once, for example.
I find that my knees will not recover fast enough for every 4 days leg training or every 3-day leg training, but I can hit it for 10 sets once a week. And then but the hamstrings I can split up 4 sets twice or 6 sets twice a week, just like I can an upper body muscle.
You know what's funny? I would have the exact same issue if I hit quads twice a week. My knees would just be destroyed. I'm happy to do like 8 sets instead of doing like 5 sets per workout. But then if I do like 4 sets today and 4 sets in 4 days, my knees they would just be gone.
Yeah, when I talked to Brandon Curry, his workaround for that was you put all your knee traumatic exercises on one day, and then the stuff that doesn't bother your knees on the other day. And that way your knees are taking 7 days to recover, but you're still hitting your quads twice.
Yeah, that makes sense. But for me personally, quads never been, I mean, it used to be a weakness when I first started bodybuilding, but these last few years, I've never had a feedback where a judge told me bring your quads up. It was always like upper body, or at that point it was hamstrings. It was never like, I'll bring your quads up. So yeah, that hasn't been an issue for me personally.
So what did you do differently for Detroit and the Arnold and Atlanta and Las Vegas? That whole year, what did you do different from what you did in Dubai the previous 6 months before the Las Vegas show, or the 5 months before the Las Vegas show?
Dubai, I think the main thing was that my presentation and tan wasn't the best. So I got overlooked. I think that was the main issue with Dubai. And I was a little bit smaller. Okay. I've grown, I've gotten bigger. At Dubai, I made weights easily. I didn't have to do sauna or anything. But with my last few shows, every single show I was like 2 kilos, 3 kilos, over my cap. So we
What's
just
your
had,
cap?
yeah, my cap is 96 kilos, which is 212.
212. So how tall does that make you? 5'7"?
I think it's 5'11". I'm 177.
You're 177. I don't even know what that is. Let me ask somebody smarter than me.
So I'm not wrong.
Let me see. Just I don't know why, but I never could do that stuff in my head. 177 divided by 2.54 equals nope. That was multiply. See, that's why I don't really fuck with calculators. I used to do everything in my head. Divided by 2.54. It's 69.69. So it's like 659.6 with my calculation.
Okay, 5'10".
Yeah. So they when they height you in, are you the 5'10" and up, or are you up to 5'10"? Because I'm 5'4" and up. So
I think I'm 5'10" and up.
Okay, that's why.
Okay.
That's why it's 5'11" is the category top of that one. Okay. So the hair or something adds to it. So 212, you're what, 238 this week?
I am 106. I mean, see, how many pounds is that?
We're going to do this online.
Let me tell you.
10. How much?
233. 233.
233. Okay. So,
yeah.
So you got 11, you got 10 weeks, really like 8 weeks.
Yeah. And I got 10 kilos, 22 pounds.
Yeah, you can do 22 pounds in 8 weeks, no problem.
Well, I don't need to drop 22 pounds. So I need to weight, let's say, under 100 kilos.
Okay.
By the day, we have to make weight. And then the last 3 or 4 kilos, we just do sauna.
And am I correct? You used rice milk and cream of rice to load 1,000 calories a day for that Arnold, for the Detroit Pro. Is that still, did I get that right?
Yeah, per meal.
Per meal. Oh, wait.
So it was around, I think, 250 carbs per meal. We did 5 meals. And then on show day, I think we did 2 meals as well.
Okay. So the 2 days at 1,250 carbs, and one day, the final day, Saturday, was 500 carbs.
Yeah, around that. Yeah.
And that was all before prejudging, 500 carbs?
Yeah. It was all before prejudging. So basically, show day was just carbs, nothing else really. Not much fat or protein. You don't really need protein. But the day before that was, again, mostly carbs, a little bit of protein, like I would say 20 grams per meal. And that was just coming from all the carb sources, basically, not from direct sources. I would have maybe 50 grams of chicken or something per meal. And the fiber was low. That's why I wasn't bloating or anything. So, and the food we picked, it was just so easy to digest. And the meal was just so dense and small. Like I was having cream of rice twice. I did have cream of rice twice or 3 times. I don't remember. And then I had 2 rice meals. And with my rice meals and cream of rice meals, I cooked them in rice milk as well.
I remember that. I remember that trick.
No extra volume. And then the rest of carbs, I just had, I think I had a few LCM bars. I did have some jam and rice cake and stuff like that. That's easy to digest. Things like we done it in the past and we know I have no issues with. Because at that point where your body is just, it's so sensitive, it just pulls everything in straight away. I would eat and after 5 minutes, I'm hungry. I have 250 carbs in and I'm starving after 30 minutes.
That's awesome. That's perfect. Now, and not that you would need it, but do you guys use like a continuous glucose monitor and use insulin at all when you're carb loading, or you just don't need it?
No, we never really had it, to be honest.
Good to know.
Yeah, I had no issues. So I think if you need to load harder, maybe when you use insulin, but 250 to 280, I'm fine. Maybe if we have to do like 300 or something and the time frame is shorter, we might have to use insulin.
Okay. Do you ever use that in the off season?
I done it in the past, but not this off season, this growth phase for Olympia. We did it. I don't know. Every time I use it, I feel like I just hold so much water. And then as soon as I come off, it's all gone. I drop it straight away. It's just water weight. I don't know.
I find that
And it's
Lance's,
obviously not the best if you're holding water because it affects your blood pressure and everything else.
I find that's one of the only things that can drive my appetite in the off season is Lantus. Like, if it wasn't for Lantus, I wouldn't be able to eat.
Yeah, I personally don't have any issue. I've stayed quite lean and I'm always hungry. It's like this off season, I was just starving because I only went up by, I was 100 kilos and I only got up to 110 kilos. I was 100 kilos pretty much sure already. On the stage, I was 100 kilos. So I gained 22 pounds in how many weeks? Like 20 weeks, which is really nothing. But as soon as my body fat goes up, I feel like that's when my appetite dies, digestion slows down.
I'll be right back. For some reason, someone's raising my buzzer. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So as you increase body fat, you have a decrease in appetite, which would theoretically mean if somebody loses their appetite in the off season, they should do maybe a mini cut and shave off some fat.
Yeah. It's not just for me. For a lot of my clients, it works as well. As soon as the body fat's going up a little bit, they start feeling bloated. The digestion slows down. The appetite dies.
Interesting. So how many competitors do you coach?
Probably around like competitors, maybe around like 30, 35.
Okay. What percentage of your total client load is competitors?
Around 40%.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you got a full load. Do you do this with your wife? Or is it all you?
It's just me because my wife has a few clients, but not many because she's pregnant.
Oh, okay.
And we have a toddler, so my son he's 2 years next week, and she's pregnant with our second one, which is
Congratulations.
thank you, and which is due a week before Olympia.
Oh no!
My crazy can life get.
She can't come.
So I'm leaving a week before Olympia. If the baby comes on time, then I might not make it to see her. But then if the baby is coming early, like my son did, he was 2 weeks early, I get to see her and spend some time.
Well, your wife's not going to be able to see you on the Olympia stage.
No, which has been a dream for us, because it's a teamwork. Bodybuilding definitely is a teamwork. And my wife is also a bodybuilder. She competed before. She's not a pro, but she really wants to turn pro.
I think I met her at the Detroit Pro. She was there with your coach, right?
No, she wasn't.
Oh, okay, my bad.
Yeah, because she had to look after my son, and it would have been hard to just come on her own. You get some help here, obviously, but like it's hard to travel with a 1-year-old.
Oh, for sure. Absolutely. It's unfortunate, though, that she can't be there with you for this Olympia, but it won't be your last. It'll definitely not be your last Olympia.
Nice. Just the first
You're just getting started.
He's just getting warmed up, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this is exciting. What is your goal for the Olympia right now? Like, is your goal to win, get top 5, to look your best? How are you approaching the mindset of this Olympia?
My mindset is just to bring my absolute best and just to present what they asked for. They wanted more lats. They wanted a little bit more arms, present that. And obviously, I want to be a little bit leaner than last time, which is always possible, even though you think it's not. You can always be conditioned. That is my goal, but I would love to be in that first call-out for sure, but that is not my focus. My focus is just ticking off my boxes, make sure every single day I make it count, and just get after it.
All right. I love that. So what I found was, and this is silly because it's an amateur career, it's different. When I visualized winning, I visualized them calling my name as first place, I always got it. When I didn't even visualize doing my posing routine for my pro debut, I didn't visualize doing the routine. I got 11th, exactly one place lower than I needed to do the routine. So ever since then, I've been like very superstitious about visualization. So whenever I do my cardio, I always visualize what I want to be bringing to the stage while I'm doing my cardio.
Yeah. And definitely the ultimate goal is to win Olympia one day. There's no question about that. And all I can do is literally just do my best, to improve every time I compete. And whenever that happens, that happens. I mean, that's all I can really control, and
So
do.
let me play devil's advocate here. So it seems like it's Ramon, Wesley, and Michael going for number one this year. Would you agree with that? Those are the front runners in the classic division.
Yeah.
You've gotten second to Wesley.
Yeah.
And so theoretically, it's reasonable that you would get fourth if Wesley was third. And theoretically, you could get third if Wesley was second. So that's the other way of looking at it. Like, you actually have a really good shot at doing something crazy, like coming out of nowhere and getting in that top 5.
I mean, anything can happen for sure, But like I said, that's because I've been there. There was a show where I focused on winning. I want to place second, third, fourth, or whatever. I always wanted to win when I competed, when I first started competing, But there was this Dubai show where I was like, I put the work in. I took 2 years off, just focused on putting on size. I came in and I just wanted to win. I came 14th. Okay. And that literally destroyed me because I had too much expectations from myself.
Pressure. I see. You didn't want to let yourself down going forward.
I was depressed for 6 weeks, 7 weeks, 8 weeks. My life went to hell. I was at the lowest point of my life after that show. And then that's when I decided to do those American shows, the Vegas and Atlantic Pro. And my goal wasn't winning. I said, look, I've been bodybuilding for years, I want to enjoy it again like I did when I was younger and not focus on winning. I just want to go there and have fun. My goal was to compete in the US this year, and I want to finish what I've started. I don't want to focus on winning. I don't have any expectation. I just want to bring my absolute best, go on the stage and have fun, and just for the love of bodybuilding, literally. I didn't look at the competitors. I didn't look at the prize money. I looked at nothing. I went to Vegas on my own. I had nobody. My coach wasn't there. My wife wasn't there. Nobody. I didn't know anyone. And I won the show. Right? Okay. This is good. I think this is the mindset I should have. It works for me.
Yeah. Bring quality and they will come.
Yeah. Sometimes too much pressure is good, but sometimes it is too much pressure is not really good. And obviously, we all have high standards as pros. We want to win, but that shouldn't be the primary focus.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, I had a pretty crushing realization after my last pro show when I tried to do classic and it was not good. So I was like, they don't really have a 212 at the Detroit Pro. So all these years I'm sitting in the audience and I'm not on stage and I feel like I'm a failure. So I think because they moved the Detroit Pro to June, I'll probably do it next year as open, just so I can just bring my best package for the people that were there for my amateur career that have never seen me compete in this decade. Like, there are people who would want to see me in my hometown compete, even if I lose. So it's like, why not do the show that's in my backyard that I've always, I dreamed that one day there'd be a pro show in Detroit and I would have a home court advantage. Fuad did that. I just don't really look good classic and I'm not big enough for open. I might as well just do the 212. Might as well do open, even though I'm a 212 guy, and then roll into Chicago if I look good and actually do 212, and then do Atlanta if I look good. But I feel like if I go into it in a situation where there's no way I can win, there's no pressure at all. It's just artistic expression.
Yeah, just being your best. You don't need to worry about your weight limit or anything,
Yeah. Even if I'm 190 on stage in an open show, it's like, fuck it. Let's just see what it looks like. Yeah.
It's not all size. Obviously, size does matter, but, you can be a little more conditioned, and beat a lot of guys who are bigger than you. That's what I did my literally entire career. Obviously, these past few years, I've gotten a little bit bigger and it's been harder to make weight, but most of my career, I was always like 3-4 kilos under my cap. Even when I turned pro, I was 4 kilos under my weight cap. So I wasn't the biggest guy on the stage, but I was always the leanest.
I mean, never seen conditioning like that. And Michigan's a conditioning state. I don't know if you know what Paul Barnett is, but he actually came to that. He flew into town for that Detroit Pro, and he's watching the amateur part, and he's like, "Holy fuck, your amateurs are conditioned." And me and Karina are just nodding. We're like, "Yeah, this was the state where if you don't have shredded glutes, don't fucking come." Like 10 years ago, if you don't have shredded glutes, don't fucking show up. As Michigan was only conditioning, size didn't matter at all. So it's like you guys go to the national stage, you get their asses beat because they're so flat. Because in Michigan, it was just coming flat and dry no matter what. So, but he was like, "Holy shit, your amateurs are shredded." Then you came out, and it's like everyone looked fat. It's crazy. You were so fucking shredded.
Yeah, it definitely was my best look. There was no pressure that week. Again, we just focused. The reason we did that show was actually, like I told you, we wanted to try something new with the carb loading and training and see if it works so we can apply that for Olympia. Okay. We did it. There was no pressure, and it worked. So we got to do obviously something similar for Olympia.
That's awesome. I love that you just packed it in. You did what you knew would work. You put on some muscle. You did it scientifically, but with high effort and like logic. Everything was perfect. From your training, it looks absolutely perfect. You have some of the best instructional shit out there. And then now you're starting your prep, and it's kind of like you only have 15 pounds of fat to lose, maybe 20 pounds of fat to lose at most. You're going to pull out most of it as water. How are you going to put the water back in after you make weight?
So the water stays pretty much neutral, whether it comes from rice milk or something. Normally, we don't do less or more. We make weight, and then as soon as we make weight, we put some water in, and then the rest just throughout the day, whatever my daily intake is.
And
So
did you have like a best look at like 214, and after you waited 212, you kind of tried to creep back up to that 214 or something?
honestly, I don't think my look suffers as much when I'm flat. Like, it's not like I look at myself, I'm like, oh, I look like shit. No, like I don't know, maybe because of the years of training, I feel like I don't lose my muscles just after spending 2 hours in sauna. They don't go as flat. Even after the sauna, we took some photos. And I'm like, shit, I look good. Fasted, trained, went to sauna, no water, no food, So my look doesn't really suffer as much like a lot of guys do in Classic. I don't need 2 days to bring my muscles back to life. I might need 10 hours, 12 hours, 15 hours, maximum 1 day. Definitely don't need 2 days. As soon as we put some food back in, I feel out nicely and I just stay as dry.
That sounds perfect. So the 1,200 carbs, that's going to be the day before weigh-in, the day of weigh-in, and then you got Saturdays show you did 500. So you didn't adjust your carb or rice milk schedule. You just were going to land the plane the whole time. And you didn't put in much, what do we put in, like 32 ounces or something after weigh-ins, and that was it? And then you're just back to the rice milk?
It was only 1 day of loading. 1 day of loading on the weigh-in day. We made weight, we loaded, and then we had 2 meals before show as well. So it was
so you loaded after making weight, not before? Oh, okay. So how many meals did you have before making weight?
No meals, nothing.
Nothing. Okay, you did all 5 meals at 250 carbs after making weight on Friday.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I think the weigh-in was around 10, 11 o'clock in the morning.
AM? Okay.
So I was having a meal every 3 hours pretty much. And obviously we would go by the feedback. I'm not just putting food in my stomach. If I feel like I'm a bit bloated and food's not digesting, and we might just slow down a little bit, right? And we want to do a little bit more or less, but we went as planned and everything was fine, to be honest. We didn't need to make any adjustments. I didn't need to eat more or less. I was fine. So that was 250 per meal, 5 meals after we made weight. And then I believe it was around 500 grams of carbs before stage over 2 meals.
That's really detailed and clear. It's funny how many people I talk to about their exact process. And for some reason, after they explain it, it isn't as clear to me. This was very clear that you weigh in the morning at 10 a.m. You have 250 carbs, which is cream of rice and rice milk every other meal, every 3 hours until you hit your 1250. The next morning, you have 2 meals in, which was just cream of rice and rice milk. And then you hit the stage and we're the most shredded person I've ever seen. Yeah.
As long as your digestion is fine, you wouldn't have any issues.
That's
And
fucking awesome.
you gotta be peeled as well. Some people, they show up, they're like, oh, we hold a bit of water. But then you're like, oh, are you sure it's water? Maybe it's fat. Maybe you just need to diet a little bit harder for longer.
Right, of course. It's like, I never blamed the water. I was like, look, if I didn't have any fat, I could be blasting full and looking better. You, no matter what, get as lean as you can, then get full, because unless you, well, I mean, some of us, like, it's like after 42, getting shredded glutes is a lot harder, because it seemed like no matter how much I diet down, they're not consistently shredded. They're like peekaboo glutes, where like sometimes a day in some angles you've got shredded glutes, but then by the time you make it to stage, they're soft. So it's you think you're good until that you look at the stage pics and you're like, nope, that's not good. So I think before that though, is like you could be flat and shredded and still have shredded glutes, but if you filled up, you'd lose them. Now it's kind of like if you're flat or you're full, you lose your glutes. And I don't know if it's an age thing or if I just can't get as lean or I'm just emotionally weaker. And so I can't push as hard on prep as when I was in my 30s, but it is difficult. And I didn't believe it. I thought people were just pussies when they were older. Yeah. And maybe I am just a pussy. I'm not invalidating that belief, but I was like, that's not going to happen to me. The same thing with the memory.
You need a glute day now.
Oh, that's just that's what I did. I stopped hyper focusing on quads and I made it, my press is a little bit flatter. So I've got the squat shoes, but I don't do the squat shoes on wedges. So like now I've got more contact with the ground. I can feel my glutes on all my presses, and my glutes are back up to their size that they were when I was in my 30s. So I figured that's going to be a big component too. You nailed it.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I never train my glutes directly. I don't do RDLs, deadlifts. I've done it in the past, but last like 6 years, I haven't done any work on my glutes just because my glutes are already huge, and everything else is getting overlooked. Like when I hit my side chest, my hamstring were looking so small because my glutes were so huge.
That's why I laid off glutes and focused just on quads and hams. And my legs came up, but my glutes were so underdeveloped that the skin that was there was like a bag. It just would fill up with water. So now I have to regrow my glutes, even though it throws off my symmetry. And now I'm extremely bottom heavy. There's no way around it. I got to have the glutes as a main body part.
You know what you want, if you want shredded glutes or you want to be a little more balanced without shredded glutes.
Right.
Be a glute.
Yeah. Once I did something my buddy did in 2019 is I dieted down for Classic because I could make weight, but the waist didn't come in like the muscles did. So like I went from 218 down to 173, it looked like shit. And then when we filled back up to 182.
173? Your weight cap was 173?
I thought it was 178, but they actually heighted me in at 54.5. So my weight cap went up to 182. So the second show, which was 2 weeks later, I came in at 182 and it looked better. But had we not dieted off 10 pounds of muscle, had we dieted down to like 190 and then pulled out 6-7 pounds of muscle, it might have looked a lot better. Because I looked really good at 200 the last 2 years. And then once I dipped below 200, it just started falling apart.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah. How hard did you have to push with the food and everything?
Oh, I lost my damn mind at the end. It was like a 20-week prep. And the first 11 weeks went good. And around the 8 and 7 week mark, it all started falling apart. So it was just, it was too long, like you said. Like the first 12 weeks were good. And I also noticed when I added in the Anavar and up the Tren from 30 to 40 a day, and those aren't high doses, but that combination punch was too much aggression. And I basically fucked my personality completely.
Yeah, that's why I don't do Tren. I don't do Tren at all.
Okay. I noticed that your cycle was pretty balanced, test, primo, mast. And that's my favorite off-season and contest prep approach. But
Yeah.
I kind of do like 10 milligrams, maybe 20 milligrams of Tren on prep. I can handle that. You're not going to add in any Tren going into the show?
No, just because it really affects my sleep, even if it's 10 milligram, and my mood, I just feel like shit. And I'm like, it's really not worth it. And it doesn't, even with my look, sometimes I feel like when I take Tren, I mean, I haven't taken Tren for years, but when I do take Tren, I start looking like stingy or like skinny, or my muscles look a little bit flat, my veins look a bit weird, if that makes sense. I don't know. My muscles don't look as fresh, but mostly I would say it just affects my sleep and my overall mood, and it's just not worth it.
Yeah. I did my
And
2024 prep without Tren at all, and I looked great all up until peak week. And then I totally shit the bed on peak week.
yeah, sometimes peak week, we do something stupid and then it fucks up your whole prep.
Yep, that's
why I
pretty
like,
much it.
that's why I like doing a few shows. I never just plan to do one show. At least I want to do two shows. If something goes wrong, you get the chance to do it again and just practice. But this time is the only time I'm actually just doing one show for Olympia, just because I have to come back home and be with my wife and the newborn. And then depending on how things go, we'll see when the next show is going to be. But I like to compete after Olympia, maybe like 3, 4, 5 weeks after Olympia again.
Is there a show in Australia that's 4 or 5 weeks after the Olympia?
No, there is no pro shows in Australia. There's no pro shows here.
So China or Japan's your closest bet for December?
Yes, I basically have to see how everything goes, because with the new baby, we don't know, like, we don't know if I'm going to be able to sleep, I'm going to be able to, do anything.
Now,
So
honestly, let me tell you, all right, I knew this was going to happen. Sean, Derek, and Chris all had kids the same time.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is going to fuck their next Olympia. All right.
Yeah.
Derek didn't win. Sean didn't win. Chris had a very tough call between Mike and himself. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I don't see it being a good idea. I think that year, that first year with the baby, just take it as a grow year or something.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely not going to be a year away from stage, but there's definitely going to be a time that I have to spend with family and just help my wife a little bit more. Once things settle down a little bit, then I can plan and compete. But again, I don't know when. It might be 2 weeks after Olympia, or 2 months, or 3 months. We got to see how things go, and then we go from there. But I will stay in shape, obviously. So whenever I decide to compete, I can get ready in 4 weeks,
Right. And you got to qualify for the 2027 Olympia, unless, of course, you get top 5 at this one. And then you're, or is it top 3? Is it top 3 now?
I'm not sure. Is it a top 5 or top 3? I'm not sure.
I know they changed it recently to a point-based system with some of these things.
Actually, might be top 3 only.
They took it away. They took points away in 2021, and I think they put the points back in 2026. But I might be wrong. All right.
They got points back in now, which you have, obviously. If you win 2 shows, you qualify.
Mm-hmm.
But then if you win a show and then you come second or third or something, you get points. And then I believe top 25 in point standing, they qualify for Olympia.
So, for example, your Detroit points would carry over to the 2027 season.
No, 2026, not 7.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. Your points would be, you didn't need the points, but they couldn't.
No, I didn't need the points. And to be honest, I never really want to compete if I'm just in the point standing. I like to win 2 shows, so I know I deserve to be on Olympia stage. That's what I feel like personally. So if I can't win 2 shows, I'm like, maybe I'm not ready, maybe I'm not good enough.
If you're always 4 weeks out, I mean,
It also depends who you're up against. For example, if I'm coming second to Wesley and I feel like the show, like it was a close battle, I know I'm good enough to be on Olympia stage.
Yeah. I mean, second to Wesley, you deserve to be on the Olympic stage.
Yeah. And a lot of people said like it was like close and it could have gone either way. So I take that. And to out condition Wesley, who's one of the most conditioned guys as well, it's like it's a big win for me for sure.
Yeah, he's got everything going for him. And you were definitely giving him a run for his money. So it was an awesome show.
Yeah, it was a good show for sure.
Yeah. So let's see, we were so efficient with our time. Is there anything else you want to talk about? We talked about nutrition, we talked about training. I know everyone wants to hear about gear stuff. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but
Yeah, I mean, I'm always open to talk about anything, to be honest. I don't do anything excessive. So I have no issues to talk about it. You know, people think I take 3-4 grams or do all this shit, but I'll always stay under 2 grams. And like usually my preps, I'm around 1.2 in total.
wow, that's so little. Not putting you down, I'm saying that's great. I know there's a few of the top Olympians that also use doses that low. The top 5 guys use doses that low, and no one believes that. They think that it's all lies, that they want to believe that.
And that is including orals. So if I'm putting 20 milligrams anabol in, you know, that's 140 milligram for the week. So I would include that as well.
So
Right, like
you
right
basically,
right now, I'm not taking any orals or anything. We potentially put some anabol in the next week or so, just to help with performance. But right now, I'm just taking the test, Primo and Mastron and GH, just the basics.
do you ever run Winstrol at the very end?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did last show.
And for the Detroit Pro, did you run 50 a day or what were you running?
So we started at 20 milligrams. Okay.
How many weeks out?
I think I was maybe like 4 weeks out or something.
Okay.
And we had another in place already at 20 milligram as well. And then we add that in. And for Arnold Classic, we didn't really change that. I stopped pinning like 3 days out. And then I think Winstrol stayed around 20 milligrams. And another was 20 milligrams.
Were you using long ester test mast and Primo or short ester test and Primo?
Yeah, long ones.
Long. Okay, good. I'm the same way. I'm a long esters only. All right, cool.
Yeah. So 3 days out, I stopped pinning. And then I didn't pin until after Detroit. So 10 every days out from Detroit, that's another thing we wanted to trial and see how do I look, you know, if I don't pin for 10 days. And then that week, we actually bumped up Winstrol. So that's another thing we did that week for Detroit. So I did a little bit more Winstrol. I'm not sure if it was 50 milligram or 75 milligram. Sorry. Yeah, 50 or 70. So yeah, something like that. We did that per day and we did on the show day as well. And yeah, I think I looked better for Detroit. I was full. I was hard.
What's funny is I always did that. I'd always run long esters. I'd basically do my last shot like Friday before the tan because I never got blemishes. But if I was worried, I would stop Wednesday. And I always ran like 50 Winstrol going into the show and bump it up to double once I pulled the shots out, if I pulled them out. And that went fine. But the time that I really shit the bed on the show, and I looked fucking amazing at 184, as I put in 200 Winstrol and 50 Anadrol, titrated up over from Tuesday to Saturday. And it just, I woke up the day of the show like 195 and I looked like a water balloon. It was terrible. So I think like I overdid it with the orals. I looked good on paper, but it fucked up my fucking liver so bad.
The Anadrol.
Yeah, that's what Roman said
I
too.
think 200 milligram of Winstrol like for 5 days would do anything crazy or would make you hold water, to be honest. It was definitely
Roman said it was Anadrol probably, because the plan was 200 Winstrol and 50 Anadrol the whole time. And about that Tuesday, he's like, fuck the plan, just run with this. But I stuck to the plan, and the plan was shit. It fucked us. If I had listened to Roman and just stayed 184 and Matt kept going up on carbs, just stayed there at 400 carbs a day, I would have been fine. Yeah, I would have looked good.
Yeah.
It sucks though, because it's like 184 to do 212. Whereas had I known I was really 182 weight cap, I could have done classic at 182, not carb loaded. I would have looked much better at that show. It's
Yeah, you never know.
yeah,
It's crazy.
it's so fucked. It's so hard too when you're right on the cusp there, where you look flat and small in classic, or you're barely into 212 when you're actually full. It's just a unfortunate place to be.
I think yeah, maybe you should have focused too much on the actual weight or more on with the look. Like
Right.
your coat at 184 looks good, stay there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's all about an arms race when it really should be about a looks race. And
Yeah, I mean, no one cares how much you weigh on the stage.
but that's why you can't be your own coach. So
Exactly. That's the game where you need a coach. People ask me, why you have a coach? You coach enough people yourself. I'm like, right, I don't want to worry about myself 2, 3, 4 weeks out where my brain is this. You're overthinking everything. You're not where you need to be. You always feel like you're not lean enough. There hasn't been a single prep where I'm like, okay, I think I am lean enough. I don't need to push harder. Every time, 3 weeks out, 4 weeks out, I'm like, I don't think I'm lean enough. My coach said, no. You're good, mate. You're good. Let's have a refit. You're good. I always want to push harder and harder. And it's important to have that second eye, set of eyes, who can tell you what to do and can see everything. You always feel flat and small, no matter how big you are. Flat and fat. No matter how big you are.
yeah, it's the same. And I don't think people understand until they compete. That's kind of like why I say, people think I'm a gatekeeper because I think steroids shouldn't be used recreationally. That HRT is one thing, or if you're a competitive bodybuilder, that's another thing. But all these people doing HRT and just throwing in extra anabolics because they want to play, like I want to cosplay a bodybuilder, but they don't want to do the work, and it doesn't work for them. It just fucks up their organs.
No. Training,
Or is like,
everything else is more important than how much drugs you take.
yeah.
You get the least out of most always. That's something else that I've learned. When I first started competing as an amateur, I ran Tren. I ran everything you think of. I ran 500 Tren per week. That's what my coach asked me. Back then it was like, okay, off-season cycle is test, deca, and EQ or some shit like that. And then prep was like test, mast, and Tren. Everyone was doing the same thing.
Everything's the exact same.
Tren, it was literally the same thing. Your coach would be like, okay, this is the plan. For the first 5 weeks, we do this. Then we do this. Then we do this.
It was usually 1,000 test, 800 DECA, 600 EQ in the off season, maybe 300 Tren with 50 Anadrol. And then the prep is always, at the end, it's always test probe, Masteron probe, Tren Ace, not 50 a day, but 100 every other day. So you're like high as a kite one day and depressed the next. And then you're doing, usually it's 50 Winstrol a day on top of that. So you're getting about 350 of every compound, and you have 4 compounds. They're all balanced.
The same cycle, everyone needs the same.
Everyone gets the same cycle.
Everyone needs to be covered hormones. Everyone needs the same thing. You need clean, you need all the fat burners.
200 climb, 75 T3. That's like the standard, right? It's like everybody's on the same shit. For like at least 10 years, everyone's on the same shit.
Well, let's be real. Back then, no one would talk about steroids.
Not publicly, no.
Anything on social media. So people had no idea. Everyone is more educated now.
I started doing it in 2014 when I had the channel for Mind and Muscle, but it was mostly about pro hormones because it's what Mind and Muscle sold. And then I started doing my own channel in 2017, Anabolic University. Like I had already been sort of doing it for like 2 or 3 years, but like Rich made it popular. Rich Piana got popular doing, and so no one knew who I was. They knew who Rich was, but I was there doing it at the same time. But his channel just exploded out of nowhere. He was just the guy from the mutant stuff and from the Rick interviews. And for some reason, he started doing his own channel where he's like, this is how I'm going to grow, and these are the steroids I'm going to use, and these are the meals. I mean, he literally just video logged doing bodybuilding. Nothing fancy, just normal bodybuilding. And it just blew the whole planet's mind. They had no idea what bodybuilding was until then.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I was watching his videos as well. I'm like, this guy is good. He's honest. You know, he's talking about everything.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Yeah. At least he was honest.
He'd be like, yeah, doing cardio in the morning makes your body a machine. Yeah. And it's just like, there's no scientific explanation, but it totally works. If you do cardio in the off season, you will just put on more muscle and less fat. Period. It just works.
Yeah. And before bed, every night he was having a tub of ice cream.
Yep. It was him and his girlfriend would drive to 7-Eleven, try to get there before they closed somehow to get the Ben and Jerry's. It's like, how the fuck did you not just buy 10 or why do you buy 2 each? Buy like 7 or 8 and stock up for the whole week. Then you don't have to do this every night.
Oh my God. No. Maybe they were just bored. They wanted to go for a drive.
Yeah, it's so funny because having a ride or die partner like that, which didn't work out for him, but she really did a number on him, but that having someone film for you, and then his whole life was editing. This was before even having people in the Philippines do your editing for you. You know, like he actually did his own editing. That's what he did all day was edit. She filmed and he edited all day. That's all they did.
Yeah, and his business grows so much.
And he created a whole industry of fitfluencers. Like he really did the bodybuilding fitfluencer thing first.
He did. Was a legend.
Yeah. What's funny is people talk so much shit about his cycle. It was test, deca, mast. Then you add in anadrol. And then I think near the end, you replace the deca with Tren. I'm like, there's nothing wrong with this cycle. It's a good cycle. You know, I don't know what. And he took an Arimidex in the beginning to go with the test because there's nothing going to cancel out the estrogen from that test, deca, and masteron. It was just a great cycle. And people were like, oh, you're going to die from this. And it's like, well, that's not what he died from, but.
Why did he die from?
My understanding is he had a coronary vasospasm from a cocaine overdose.
Oh, shit.
He was snorting lines and his girlfriend was cutting his hair. The good one, the one he had before the Icelandic wife. And the good one came back and she was cutting his hair and he died. He had a heart attack when she was cutting his hair.
Yeah. A lot of people actually die from cocaine and they do steroids and then take other drugs at the same time.
Right. And they blame the steroids.
Yeah, I know.
It's like if you got a certain shot and get eaten by a shark, you died from the shot. I mean, you died from some other illness. Yeah, it was everybody who, and it doesn't matter how you die, you died from that specific illness for 1 year. Yeah. And there's no flu deaths that year. It's just deaths from that one illness. All cause of death was that illness for 1 year.
Yeah, but to be honest, everyone knew him just from his steroid cycles and stuff like that. So they would assume, okay, he died from this.
Mm-hmm. It's like, what's funny is I looked at a study done. This was before bodybuilding was popular, right? Recently popular because they have a new study showing that it's more harmful. But this study said they looked at 37 dead bodybuilders. 0 of them died from health complications. All of them died from either accidents or violence. And so the people are going to conclude, oh, that means the steroids makes you more prone to violence and accidents. No, it's just they were healthy. So what else are they going to fucking die from?
Yeah, that's crazy, actually.
So, the people are like, why are all these bodybuilders dying? I'm like, you've heard of what? 10 bodybuilders died in the last 3 years?
Exactly.
Out of how many millions of people have died in the last 3 years?
I know.
A lot more than 10 people.
As soon as a bodybuilder does, everyone's like, oh, steroids. I'm like, how many bodybuilders are dying? Like, I've had maybe 20 bodybuilders died in the past 10 years. Okay, so what? It's just human, people die. How many soccer kids died? How many, like, these other sports? Everyone dies. Like, Kobe Bryant, he died. He wasn't taking steroids.
2021, the incidence of sudden athlete death was, I think, up 700 or 7,000%. You were 70 times more likely to die if you're an athlete in 2021 than any other year.
That's wild.
And then, so they're like, well, look at all the bodybuilders that are dying. I'm like, all athletes are dying right now.
I know.
They need their blood and their heart to work right. So if they're forced to do something against their will by their government that causes their blood to clot, and they're already working really hard with thick blood, they're more likely to die.
Yeah.
But it was all athletes were dying that year.
I know. Crazy. It's just people. And it's usually the ones who they don't actually do bodybuilding or have no idea. They just talk shit. You come on Instagram, they're like, oh, this guy looks better than me. He must be taking steroids. This guy died. He must be on steroids. You know?
Right.
It's just they have no idea. It's not actual bodybuilders who compete that talk shit. It's the other people who never competed, have no fucking idea, and they just make assumptions.
And that's why I say that they're cosplaying or identifying as bodybuilders. But to be a bodybuilder, you have to step on a bodybuilding stage. You know, you have to go through the whole thing. It'd be like saying, you can't say you're a mother if you never carried a baby and gave birth to it. Just having sex doesn't make you a mother. So like just doing steroids doesn't make you a bodybuilder. You have to go through the process of stripping the fat off and then getting on stage and having actual candid pictures taken of you in standardized posing and standardized lighting with a standardized backdrop, so you can compare yourself to yourself from previous years or future years, and you can see where you stack up with other people from your local gym, so you know what you really look like under that muscle.
That's true. Yeah.
It's an important part of the feedback loop. It'd be like taking painkillers to get through powerlifting so your joints don't hurt. Well, guess what? You're still taking the damage where you can feel it or not, and your kidneys are getting fucked.
Yeah.
Or your liver, depending on which painkiller you're using. So pain is an important feedback mechanism to let you know not to do something. Likewise, you need to diet down once a year and look at what you did so you found out if what you're doing is actually fucking working, or if you're missing something you need.
100%.
So what is it there? It's like midnight there for you right now?
No, it's actually in the morning.
Oh, it's 10 in the morning there. God, that's right. You're 14 hours ahead, not 2 hours ahead.
It's almost 12 o'clock now, 11:42. I work out always in the morning. So I had my session this morning, and then I do my posing. I practice posing after my workout, and I do my cardio. Then I come home and start working.
So wait, you have 0 meals before you lift, or you have 1 meal before you lift? Oh, you have 0 meals before you lift.
Yeah, I train fasted.
You lift weights fasted.
That's something else I have done differently.
Wow, that's the whole. And you're a coach, so I got to hear about
16 months. 16 months. I was always the guy who was like, I'm not going to train until I have 2 meals in. I need to have 2 meals in. I'm not going to train. But then there was a time that, I had to train in the morning for some reason, family issues and stuff. So I had to be with my family, but I had to train before, I go. And I was training at 4 a.m. Okay, I would train at 4 a.m. I didn't have time to eat. If I'm eating and going to the gym, the food's just going to be sitting on my stomach. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to have my normal supplements, pre-workout, intra-workout, make sure I have enough water before my workout, go train. I did that I had to do it for 3 days, okay? But then I'm like, I feel really fucking good. My performance is better. I feel better. I'm not bloated. I'm not getting distracted. Clients are not messaging me. Everything is feeling better. Like maybe I should keep training in the morning. So then by the time I get home, all the clients have checked in. If I need to help my wife with my son, I can help her. I go to the gym before they wake up, I'm like, this works for me actually. And then I started doing it. And honestly, I think it's only benefited me.
Darian Bates, who's also Australian, she has a bunch of great content. She brought up a good point that like the longer you put your workout off in the day, the more fuckery that can happen. More people can call you and upset you. Your kid needs to get picked up from school because he threw up. Your wife's got an issue. Like the more people that are up, the more fucked up your day is going to get. So if your workout's supposed to be at 5 p.m., you're probably going to miss a meal or have to push it back by the time you get to 5 p.m. if you have other people in your life. So that some of people can only work out in the morning because that's the only way they can guarantee they get a 95% perfect workout. Because if they try to get a 100% perfect workout at 5 p.m., it'll be 80 to 70% perfect because someone will fuck it up for you.
This is the most predictable time for me, you know, predictable meaning like if I feel like something is off, I know it's not the time I'm training. I know it's got nothing to do with the time I'm training, the day. But if I was training later and one day I had to do something else, I had to go pick up my son, or it was more of a physical day, you know, that would affect my training. But this, I wake up, I'm the most fresh in the morning. I'm going to get my workout done. It's the most important part of my day. It's my workout. You know, I'm training for Winstrol Olympia, right? So that's going to be done first, and nothing else can affect it, no matter what happens.
I found that's the only way to make it work. I wake up, I do my vacuums, I'll do my fasted cardio, I'll have cream of rice and a protein shake, I'll have my pre-workout, I'll go to the gym, I'll train, I'll come back, I'll have cream of rice, another protein shake, and then I'll start calling clients back. And I'm cheerful and I have time for them. But if I'm going to call people back before I get to the gym, everything before the gym is just in the fucking way. And I need to get rid of it before I get to the gym. And I don't want to treat people like that.
100%. It's the best thing I've done, you know. And to be honest, a lot of people have started doing this now. Before everyone was like, "Oh, you shouldn't train," but now they see us as pros. I've been saying this on my Instagram for a while. A lot of my clients have switched to morning training, and they're like, "This is really fucking good." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm telling you, it works. I'm doing it. If it wasn't working, I would not be doing it." You know.
I think that especially in the off season, like I was talking to Joe Palacio, and he does the same thing I do. If we have X amount of calories to get in, and we don't have enough time to do it, you got a few options. You can eat really dirty, you can fuck off on the calories, or you can stay up later and miss sleep and get your food in. And we found that of the three, getting the less calories and the most sleep is the worst recovery. The junk food and the most sleep is good recovery, but staying up a little later and getting all your food in that's good food and getting a little bit less sleep is better recovery. Obviously, nothing's better than doing it right, but if you're going to do it wrong, which are the three ways to do it wrong? So if I'm shit loading before bed for the final meal, I'm waking up ready to fucking go. I'm not hungry in the off season. Why the fuck don't I just drink a pre-workout and go? And I can get sick fucking workouts unless it's leg or back if I do that. If it's leg or back, I'm going to crap out halfway through that workout.
Yeah, especially in the off season, like your body doesn't utilize a meal you had right before a workout. If anything, the food's sitting on your stomach, right? It's not like consistent. It utilizes whatever you had that within that 24 hours window, you know, in the off season, especially prep. You're a little bit more insulin sensitive, food is lower. A meal pre-workout might benefit you 2 hours before your workout for some people. But then when it's prep, I always make sure I have a little bit of carb powder. So before workout, I have 25 grams of carb powder in my pre-workout, and then intra-workout, I have around 25.
You have 125 carbs in your intro. Is it HCG?
No, 25 grams.
Oh, 25. Okay. Because Milos, I think, was doing the 10 Humalog with 100 dextrose or some shit. And I was like, if I did 100 dextrose, I'd be sick. I'd have to use cyclodextrin. I can't absorb the glucose that fast. But Wesley does the same thing. He said it isn't the lack of food that makes you think you're training like shit. It's just being hungry. So if you appropriately address the hunger in the morning, your workout's good, because as we all know, the muscles are already loaded with glycogen from yesterday. Just eating while you're training, or protein and amino acids and carbs while you're training, may not be necessary. But if you didn't have breakfast, fuck yeah, you want to have EAAs and cyclodextrin while you're training, maybe even a fructose or something. And then afterward, you can hit your fast digesting protein, especially if you didn't wake up hungry. There's no rational reason you couldn't do that.
I'm never waking up hungry. You know, I don't wake up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm starving. I'm always fine in the morning. So this makes my prep so much easier. I'm not hungry. I go to the gym, train. Then my first meal is around 9:30. I don't have to eat at 7 o'clock in the morning. I eat at 9:30. Then I eat every 3 hours and I'm good.
That's what a lot of people do is they like to push off their first meal because
Yeah.
until they have that first meal, they're not hungry.
Yeah.
And then once they have that first meal, that's just an insulin roller coaster the rest of the day.
That's true.
So this is counterproductive to what I've been telling people for 15 years. You should always train 8 hours after you wake up so you're at your core temperature. And that you could mitigate that with caffeine, but the caffeine's going to fuck up your sleep, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, I will get a better workout if I wait until I had 2 or 3 meals. But I have to pretty much turn the phone off and just watch Netflix and eat and not accept that there is an outside world because somebody's going to fuck that day up if I give them a chance.
100%. 100%. Training in the morning has been the best thing. I've made so much progress since I've done that. First thing in the morning, I wake up and I leave. Everything is ready. I got all my drinks and everything ready. As soon as I wake up, I'm going to the bathroom. I do some vacuum, and then I'm off.
How do you do your vacuums in the morning?
So it's I do a few in the bathroom, and I'm leaning forward, and I just pull it all in, hold it for 10 to 20 seconds. I might do it like for five sets, 5 rounds. And then sometimes I come back to my room, I lay flat on my back, and I just pull it in, hold it, and then I do it 5 times again. So I would do it 10 times pretty much every morning.
I always just practice doing a front relaxed and then go into like an ab and thigh afterward or something like that. And then go in, like try to go from a vacuum to a contracted and have that, and then do like 10 seconds vacuum, 5 seconds contracted, and then 20 seconds rest.
So what I do is that, when you breathe out, I try to contract it hard. My is never relaxed. So I'm exhaling and contracting. That's like 10 seconds. My top is full, the air is fully out. That's when I pull in, hold it. I'm not breathing. I'm holding. And then if I have to breathe again, that's when I'm contracting my abs, breathing, and then I breathe out. My stomach is not resting this whole time. So it's either contracted or I'm putting a vacuum. And
so there's no rest. You do 5 continuous iterations where you're alternating exhaling with a contraction or inhaling with a vacuum. So you're not getting shit as far as oxygen goes until you hold the vacuum. And then would you do like shallow breathing through your nose or anything like that?
And I'm doing a vacuum.
Yeah.
When I'm doing a vacuum, all the air is out. I'm not breathing. But
Nothing
then not contracting and resting, I can breathe through my nose, but I don't breathe through my mouth.
I see. You do have a rest phase. It's just your rest phase is a contracted phase. You don't have a truly relaxed phase. I got you.
Exactly. The period I'm resting, I'm actually keeping my core, my stomach tight. I'm contracting it. And that just helps a lot with stage presentation. So when I'm on the stage, I can easily be contracting my abs. And right now I am contracting my abs and I'm talking to you. I have no issues holding my stomach tight.
Okay. Yeah, I lost all my ab control. I used to have really, really good ab control, and I got away from heavy lifting around 2021 and switched to like the no hip hinging, no heavy shit, do everything 4-second eccentric. And the problem was I lost a lot of strength, so I never built back up that strength. So my core never really needed to get engaged. So then over years, my core got weaker and weaker and weaker as I'm force feeding myself, not lifting heavy. And so like now I'm basically doing so much core training. I'm going back to lifting relatively heavy, even with traditional movements. Basically, it's like getting rid of the foundational movements that are safe to do in the 6 to 10 rep range costs you all of your durability and tendon strength so that when you're doing the fluff and buff shit, you can actually get hurt. Because if you're doing sets of 14 curls, eventually your arm's going to get so muscular, but that tendon's not any stronger. But when you did bent rows with like 400 pounds, those tendons were getting stronger from your back work. And so by taking out the bent rows, the deadlifts, the heavy squats, and the heavy bench press, I lost all of my tendon strength.
Yeah, I feel like you need to put something else in place, especially with core. Like, for example, I personally do abs every time I train, but it would only be like 1 or 2 sets, nothing excessive. So before my workout, as a part of my warm-up, I am doing 1 exercise for ab every time I train. If I'm doing back, for example, if it's a back day, before my workout, when I'm warming up, I'm doing hanging leg raises. At the
I remember
same time,
that.
stretching my lats, right? So I'm getting a really good stretch on my lats, and then I'm working my core. I'm doing 1 to 2 sets pretty much to failure, right? And then before my leg workouts, I usually do a set of plank where I'm going for 90 to 120 seconds,
Okay.
right? And before my chest workout or push workouts, I'm usually
The,
doing ab
the rope,
crunches,
right?
covering everything. It's not anything excessive. It's more about the mind muscle connection, right? And just try to build that muscle and not losing the muscle. You know what I mean? So I'm not trying to get my abs blocker or stronger. I'm
Right.
trying to maintain them and at the same time make sure the mind muscle connection is there when I'm training. So when I'm doing a biceps curl, I can keep my core tight and my stomach in. Because at the end of the day, the more mindful you are about your midsection,
Mhm.
the better control you would have on stage, you know?
Yeah, I used to be really big into core and core training. That was one of my features. I even taught an ab class in like 2011 or 2010. And then I remember I had a coach at one point. It's like, you can't train your abs, it'll make your waist bigger. So for about 10 years, I didn't really train abs. And that's when they started to slip. But I was still lifting so heavy with the squats and the deadlifts, there was still that internal core. But when I lost that and I wanted to go back to squatting, I could feel my abs tear right up the middle when I tried to
Mm,
squat 315 because I had not done it for 2 years. And the legs were fine, but the core couldn't handle the load. So I stayed
yeah.
away from heavy lifting, and that was to my detriment. Like my waist has went up like 10 inches in the last 15 years, probably from just not staying on top of it. So I've always, yeah, it sucks. It
And
sucks.
if you have like off season for a long period of time as well, like it just gets hard to train your abs. You just get lazy. You don't do vacuum, you know. If your body fat's going up, it just gets you're hard to really pull your stomach in and do that exercises you normally do when you're prepping. So that's another thing that I don't like doing an off season for a year, for example. I like having like smaller phases. It would be like 10, 12 weeks, maybe 16 weeks of growing, then a period where you are resetting your body, right?
Mhm.
Maintain it, maybe with a mini cut for like 2, 3, 4 weeks, and then start the
Mhm.
next phase.
Yeah. I mean, and that stuff I've preached in the past. It's just funny. You can have all the best ideas in the world, but you can't retain all of them in your head at the same time. So it's like I see people that were my clients doing stuff, and I'm like, oh yeah, I used to teach to do that. I don't even remember why I stopped doing it. And here it is, like I'm like, why the fuck aren't you doing that anymore? These 6 people who you trained but 10 years ago are still doing it with their clients. Why aren't you doing it? And it's like, oh yeah, I forgot about
Yeah.
that.
It happens a lot actually. You say something to a client, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck? I'm not doing this, you know, or a bad mindset or something.
Yeah. It's just, it's hard to take all of your own good advice at the same time
Yeah.
because you're just a person, you
That's
know?
for me, the coach.
Yeah,
Your coach
exactly.
tells you what to do. This is what you do, you know.
Mhm.
When he thinks you're not in the right headspace, like, you know, you need to slow the fuck down, you know. Your mindset is not where it needs to be. Do this, do that. But only the coach. I mean, all professionals in any sport, they have a coach. It just makes sense to have a coach all year round.
Or even business. You
Yeah.
might have an athlete therapy, like with athlete psychology is a thing, like having a therapist for an athlete if it's a non-coachable sport, or like a business coach to help you level up your business. Like there's no reason not to reinvest that in your education or your mindset because it's not like you can't write it off.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. Coaches are there for a reason.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt to have a coach. It can only help.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if you have a really bad coach who gives you terrible advice and you have no idea what you're doing,
Oh,
usually by the time you're already a pro, you know the difference between right and wrong. You just don't know which right to mix with which right from this category with which right with from this category. We might take the wrong sampling. Like we're going to use Dorian's training, but not Dorian's diet. Well, you're not going to recover. You got to
and
use Dorian's training with Dorian's diet.
yeah. And you will know after 3, 4 months if you're getting coached by someone and you're making no progress, you're doing something wrong.
or they're doing or you're doing. It's either you're not executing or they're not,
Oh
or
yeah,
you're not giving them the right
if it's
feedback.
not 100%, if you're following whatever your coach is telling you to do and it's not working yet, then that's the problem. But if you're fucking around, then you are the problem.
Yeah. Well, what I love is when they think they're doing it right, but they're not doing it right. It's like, how many people do you know that can't use a needle and can't measure? That they think that 30 units on an insulin syringe is 30 milligrams of test sip. Like, it's like everybody.
It's funny because I had this conversation with a client yesterday. He's like, bro, I'm doing everything you asked me to do. I feel like this last 2 months, I haven't made any progress. I'm like, okay, this is what you're not doing. I've asked you to send me training videos. You're not sending me videos. I've been asking you every single check-in. You go to the gym, you follow my program, but the best program in the world is literally useless if you're not executing properly. If the intensity isn't there. You're not sending me videos, bro. Every week I'm asking you, send me videos. And then he starts sending videos after like 2-3 months. I'm like, okay, now we know why you're not progressing. Your execution is literally shit. I literally told him, I said, this is terrible. Send me videos every time you train, every single exercise.
Damn, that's dedication, man. That is dedication. I just make instructional videos like you, and I'm like, make sure to watch the videos and train as hard as, not in the instructional videos, I'm not training hard, but in the actual training videos, I'm like, that's an appropriate level of training difficulty. Like, if you're sweating and gasping for a minute after your set, you're training hard enough. If you look around the gym, you're the only person sweating, you're the only one breathing hard. That doesn't mean you're overdoing it. It means none of them are doing it right.
Yeah, I mean, that's something I've been doing this last 2 years with my clients. I ask all my clients, I'm like, send me 2 videos every time you train, okay? Every time we train. It's not just execution. I want to check your intensity as well. And I think they've been getting really good results since then because training execution is really important and it's so underrated.
It's nuts, man.
You can do the bro split, okay? You can do the bro split and still make crazy gains, like a lot of top bodybuilders done, right? For 2 reasons. First is the intensity. They train hard. Even if their form isn't the best, they still train really fucking hard. So I believe intensity is more important than execution. If your execution is, let's say, 70% on point, but the intensity there, you're still gonna make gains, right? But then if it's the other way around and you're like, every set is like 5 reps from failure, you have the most perfect execution in the world, you're not really gonna make progress. But then when they both dialed in, you're really gonna get the most out of it.
I think of it like this way. Training hard and sloppy is like using a shotgun. You're going to get the target muscle, but you're going to get every muscle around it and every joint. But you will get it. Whereas if you're training correctly, but like a pussy, it's like you're using a sniper rifle with rubber bullets. You're not punching through shit. It's just bouncing off body armor at that point.
No, they're both just as important.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you want to use depleted uranium rounds out of a sniper rifle. That way you take it out with one shot. It's perfect. You move on to the next target. But if you had to choose to do it wrong, it's better to do it sloppy and hard than it is to do it gently and right.
100%. 100%. As long as you're not getting injured.
Right. Well, and that's the thing is this doesn't apply to anyone my age. It's like we can't do shit sloppy anymore. And it's like you've been doing sloppy your whole life. Time to start doing it right.
It's funny. I see a lot of like newbies at the gym, or a lot of people that have been training for years. I look at them and the form is so bad. Like I'm like, if I do this, man, I can't even walk. I'm gonna literally tear something straight away. Sometimes not knowing it, it's the best thing. You don't get injured. But then when you know something is wrong and you do it, that's when you get injured.
It's funny, when I was younger, people used to take my advice more seriously. Like this week alone, I walked up to some kid who was benching and his right shoulder was dipping, but his hand was on the inside of the left shoulder. Like he wasn't lining up his thumbs with the knurling cuts when he benched. And I was like, hey, your hand's closer on your right side and your right side's dipping. And he's like, oh, it's because I have a shoulder injury. I'm like, that's why you have a shoulder injury. He's like, no, it's from football. I'm like, okay. Sorry. And I walked around I'm thinking like, okay, just keep benching. That'll make it better. So it's like, but I'm done. And then like today, I see this old man with like an oxygen tank on his hip with the tube on his nose, and he's got running shoes on doing deadlifts, like on the Smith machine. And I walk up to him like, you'd get way better stability if you took the running shoes off and had your heels have contact with the ground. And he's like trying to chat me up and shit. I'm like, I'm not socializing. I'm like, I'm trying to help you in between my sets. I'm breathing hard. You've got an oxygen tank on and you're not breathing as hard as me. So it's like, I don't really want to waste that much breath on this. I just want to tell you to take your shoes off. And he's like, I don't really care about my shoes. And I'm 63. I'm like, well, that's the reason to do it wrong. I'm thinking that it's much more important to do it wrong at 63 than when you're younger. No, it's like, he's like, I was like, I just worried about your spine, bro. And he's like, oh, well, the spine's an important thing. And I'm like, okay, this is where we're at. All right. Yeah. So we're learning that spines are important. Okay, cool. It's like, you just do it. He's like, I'm not using that much weight. I'm like, you're sure not. I was like, I even thought about not trying to help because it was so light. You couldn't possibly get hurt. But I was like, you know what? Might as well try. But it's okay. Let heck over and do what I was doing.
Just because he's not using a lot of weight, he can do it wrong. He knows a lot of people actually, they know they do things wrong, but they just don't care. Like, this is how I like to train.
He walked over 5 times to tell me I was absolutely.
He was doing 60 kilos. I don't know how many pounds. It's like 120 pounds or something, 30 pounds. Biceps curl with dumbbells. And his form was so fucking.
It's a lower back and glute workout.
He was literally doing this, okay? Like this. And he was leaning onto a bench. It was just the most stupid thing you could ever see at the gym. And I'm like, bro, like, you literally need to stop this, This is a big fat guy, like he's training at the gym. He's extremely overweight and he always does that exercise every single time he trains. Like, bro, you're gonna get injured, He's like, I know my form is shit, I know I can get injured, but I enjoy doing this. I'm like, okay. Then do it. I'm like, okay, then do it.
Okay, bro. It's like, have you tried motorcycles without helmets? It's like, that's even safer the way you're doing. It's like, there's this, like, what did I do? I knew they weren't going to listen to me, right? I knew they weren't going to listen. So what I did is I walked up, can I work in with you? And they're doing like the push downs with their whole body, right? And I made it way lighter and I pulled it in and went that.
Yeah.
And like I'm not a big guy. My arms are the size of their waist or legs, right? These are like 16-year-old kids. And I'm just like pumping it out with the triceps. And then I rack it. And then nothing gets absorbed. They immediately go right back to the 80 pounds and throwing their lats and their chest into it. And I'm like, all right, this is not going to translate. Okay.
They don't care.
It's like, I knew they weren't going to listen, but maybe I could demonstrate it and they might be able to draw a correlation there. Because every time you do bicep curls, you always got that dude who's using the 50s and he's always doing this. 1, 2.
Yeah.
He always swings, gets the delta, get it momentum going, and then does an uppercut with his hips to get the weight up. And then you're just looking at him and you got your arm out like this and you're like, smiling. It's like 30s. And he's doing this with the 50s. And I'm like, what are they going to draw the correlation that the bigger arms come from the smaller weights done correctly? Not using you're using more weight than like 3 times. You're using double the weight I'm using. Your arms are not growing. Like, when are you going to put this together, man?
The guy probably thinks you're such a pussy training. Look at this guy. He's doing 10 kilos. That's what he's thinking,
Always.
He doesn't he doesn't care.
They think that's proof that steroids do everything. Is that this guy lives so light and he's so big, he just must be full of juice. He's gotta be full. And they're not wrong, but it's like, hey, if the steroids allow you to lose less weight and not get hurt and still grow the muscle, but really, it's crazy because I know he's not feeling his biceps. I know none of them are feeling shit. And they just won't let the weight down. You never see girls doing that shit. You never see women using too much weight. If anything, you just go, all right, princess, we got to turn it up a notch.
It's wild. You see crazy stuff at the gym all the time.
Yeah, the girls are like the sniper rifle with the rubber bullet, and the dude's like using the grenade launcher to kill a fly. Yeah. So is there other topics you want to talk about?
I don't know. I'm pretty sure we covered a lot of things.
We covered a lot of stuff. Yeah, I got to get some meals in myself. I've got about 4,000 more calories to do today and 3 hours to do it. But
all right, thanks
it's
for
been
having
a
me.
great treat, man, having you on. It's so cool to talk
really
to
cool.
someone.
You should do it more often, maybe Olympia weekend or something. Are you gonna be at the show?
That was the plan, but then I didn't get the tickets, and my rest of my team didn't get their tickets. So it's like, ooh, I'd rather just double down and do a really good in-person interview and have a booth for the Arnold and really focus on marketing the Arnold than this Olympia. Unfortunately, you're going to be here for this, but at least I got you in Detroit live. But I would love to have you back on when we're closer to the show or after the show or both to discuss the show.
Yeah, maybe it's peak week. When I'm in Vegas, I would have more time as well.
All right,
that would be
cool.
good.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you about this.
Yeah.
I want to share your journey, your first Olympia with everyone, because you're going to make big splash. There's no question about that. You're like Andrew Mamoli. You're like one of the top dudes as far as I'm concerned. You're so fucking
really appreciate it. We just get the job done, whatever happens, as long as I'm doing my best, I'm on the right track.
Well, Roman Fritz is one of the best physiques I've ever seen. He got 14th at the Olympia. And Justin Shire is one of my favorite physiques of all time. He got 15th at the Olympia. So, you were still 15th in the fucking world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if there's only 25 guys going, you're going to be one of the top 25 classic physique bodybuilders in the whole fucking world. And that's the most popular division. And I know that you know that, but it's different when you hear it from someone else.
It is, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, because when you say it to yourself, you think you're blowing your own stuff up.
Sometimes I sit down like, holy shit, I've come such a long way. I've been competing since 2016, so 10 years. Attend pro, won pro shows, made it to Olympia. I've had this tattoo on my wrist, which is an Olympia tattoo, for 7 years. And, finally making it, it's just been a dream of mine, And so and I think about it, I'm like, holy shit, I've come a long way, and I really appreciate it for sure. I'm so grateful for it. And just being on Olympia stage is literally the biggest thing. Obviously, I do have bigger goals in terms of placing and stuff like that, but I know it's just a matter of time, and it would happen when the time is right. So,
one last thing I can't believe I forgot to talk to you about. Your adductor injury in 2024, you were doing the leg press and the adductor ripped the pubic bone apart. Is that what happened?
Yeah, so I was doing a single leg press. That day I was just feeling a little bit off. I don't know why. I wasn't training first thing in the morning, maybe that's why. I did my first set. I believe I did 18 reps or something with one leg. I was 120 kilos. And then I did my second set, same weight. I got to the 10th rep, I think. And then bang, I tore my adductor. And I knew I tore it, right? I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. It was a world pain. And obviously I did the MRI and they said I've torn my adductor, and my adductor has pulled off my bone, my pubic bone, by 1 centimeter. And I have also strained my abdominals. So like 3 injuries, 3 damages. And I saw a surgeon. He's like, you can do a surgery, but if you do a surgery, you really need to protect it, or it might happen again. Or you can literally do nothing and wait for it to heal. Scar tissue is gonna be built up there, and they fill up the gap. And I'm like, I think that's what I want to do. I don't want to get someone into my stomach and fuck up everything. So I basically just didn't do a surgery. I did some peptides, TV500 and BPC 157. I did it for 6 weeks. And the surgeon is like, there's no way you can train legs for at least 3 months. 6 months. Okay. And next day I was at the gym doing upper body, even though I couldn't sit. It was really bad. I couldn't sit or do anything. Okay. I had to obviously do a lot of cable walk or standing stuff, but I was still training. I just wanted to go to the gym. For me, it's a mental thing. As long as I'm able to protect it, I'm trained pain free. I want to go to the gym and just move my body. Anyway, like the first few days, I couldn't sit. I couldn't take my pants off. I couldn't go toilet. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't put any pressure. I didn't shit for 3-4 days.
Oh,
Because
wow.
sit and shit. I couldn't put it. My wife was literally pulling my shorts down, my pants down, my undies, and putting everything. So she was doing everything for me. And I'm like, okay. So I started my recovery went really quick after like 4 weeks because I thought myself, I said, look, it's all in the head. If I think I can recover in 2 months and be able to train really hard again, I can do it. So after 2-3 weeks, I could train upper body properly again, like hard. And after about 4 weeks, I think I started doing legs, leg extension and hamstring curl, and I was fine. And then I slowly introduced hack squat again with the band, with no weight. I did it. But after about 2 months, I could train legs again, but then properly in 3 months rather than 6. They said 6 months. So it took me about 3 months and I was fully recovered from.
Yeah, that sounds the same type of thing I would do. When I tore my hamstrings and tore my bicep, I didn't even bother getting an MRI. I'm like, I can move the limb and I can function, then I'm going to just do it like a normal recovery. And if it looks deformed, then I'll go get surgery. And nothing looked deformed, so fuck it. I just set to 20. If it doesn't hurt, keep doing it. If it hurts, don't do it. It's that simple.
Yeah.
If it hurts, don't do it. And use BPC, TB 500, GHKCU, maybe KPV, because we got new toys since 2024. And that shit should heal. Like I fucking cleared up this bicep pretty quick.
Yeah.
And that's the exact same mechanism. Obviously, it's nowhere near as dramatic as your injury, but
Yeah.
I tore both hamstrings since I turned 42. And I did the same thing for them. It's just do what doesn't hurt and be patient with your, basically, it's like your level 20 fighter got knocked down to level 1 again. And you have to build that level 1 fighter all the way to level 20. But everyone else in the party is still level 20. So you got to train those limbs correctly, but you can't put too much weight on the leg when you're doing an arm thing because you might pop that scar tissue again.
You just have to protect it and then go from there. Yeah. And then once it's healed, then you slowly build it up, you do rehab and stuff like that.
And you started like, all right, my arm's going to do 10-pound curls. This one's doing 40s. This one's doing 10s. And you just have a separate log. You've got 2 columns for your logbook, right arm, left arm, and you just train them completely differently. And eventually they'll get better.
Yeah.
Well, we like 2 peas from the same pod on different sides of the planet, dude.
I know.
I can't wait to see you again. This will be fun. Yeah. Well, we'll have another meeting to talk about this before. You said peak week? We'll do peak week then for the Olympia.
In Vegas.
All right, cool. And if your coach can make it and he wants to do it and you want to have him on, it's always fun to get the full collaborative perspective on an athlete.
Yeah, sure. I would talk to him and I'm sure he would be fine.
All right, cool. Well, it's great talking to you, Ethan. This was a treat. I love your content on Instagram. How do people get a hold of you?
This is my Instagram, which is eFactoryPro. And obviously YouTube, I recently started doing some YouTube stuff, which is just my name, Ethan Gohari.
I'll subscribe. I'll check those out. I love your content on Instagram. I can't imagine your stuff on YouTube isn't better because you get to really explain yourself rather than have to use carousels and stuff.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, bro. Really appreciate you. And I'm actually keen for the next one.
All right, cool. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Cheers, man.
Thank
you so much. Appreciate it. Thank you.